How's it going, guys? This is Jack here with the Commander's Wire, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over some offensive day 3 sleeper picks I think the Commanders could look at drafting here in the 2026 NFL draft. Now these are picks that are going to be coming in the 4th round or later, meaning that they're going to be either pick 101 or any pick after that. So even though some of these guys are projected maybe 3rd round picks, borderline 3rd or 4th round picks, when I'm looking at the big board, the consensus big board right now as of filming, they are projected to be either pick 101 or later. I think the lowest guy I have here is going to be in the 130s about. I really don't remember, but these are not really the guys that I'm choosing here really aren't that borderline 3rd round picks, just so that I am as sure as possible that they are going to be day 3 picks. But before we get into today's video, I really would appreciate if you guys would go down below, drop a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to know when I post next, and you guys will be notified whenever I post more Commanders content just like this. I apologize, I haven't been too consistent with the uploads. Unfortunately, there just really has not been too much going on. We do have the new jerseys coming out here in about a week or so, and then we have the draft coming up in about another week and a half after that. So we do have that coming up here, but besides that, it's going to be very quiet in the NFL land as a whole. There are some things moving around, I guess, around the NFL. Obviously, we have the Brandon Ayuk situation. We're going to see how that turns out. Also, Dexter Lawrence did request a trade, which is interesting. I don't think he's going to be someone the Commanders are trading for. However, that is always a possibility. Obviously, teams don't usually trade within the division, but it's definitely something that can still happen. So we'll just have to see how that situation turns out. But without further ado, let's get right into today's video. My first offensive day 3 sleeper I have is Eric McAllister. And I don't know how this guy has not been moved up the draft board. I think even though he's not athletically the best guy in the world, he is a T. Higgins type of receiver. He's a big-bodied Z receiver that can get to the outside and beat the guy man-to-man and use his body to win 50-50 balls. He's 6'3", 205 pounds, a wide receiver out of TCU. This year for the Horned Frogs, 72 catches, 1,190 yards, 10 touchdowns, and average 16.5 yards per reception. I think that production speaks for itself, especially if it's coming in on day 3. Whether it be with the Washington Commanders, 5th, 6th, or 7th round. I think that is an absolute steal in a day 3 receiver, and that is definitely someone that I want the Commanders to pick up at the end of the draft. Another receiver that I really want the Commanders to look at is Deion Burks out of Oklahoma. Though he is a little smaller at 5'9", 188, he ran a 4.3 40 at, I forget, is either his pro day or the NFL Combine. However, he is quick, man. He is definitely someone that could, even if he's besides Jalen Lane catching punts or taking kickoff returns, he's someone that I definitely want on this roster. For the Sooners, he had 57 catches for 620 yards, 4 touchdowns, 10.9 yards per reception. Obviously, this guy's a small receiver, probably going to be running out of the slot most of the time, but he is someone that also in the later rounds I would not be too upset if the Commanders decided to draft him. Next up, my last receiver on the list, Kevin Coleman Jr., wide receiver out of Missouri. He stands at 5'11", 180 pounds. He had 66 catches for 732 yards, 1 touchdown, and 11.1 yards per reception. This guy is he's just an athlete, man. He can go up, run any route you want him to, whether it be at the X, at the Z, at the Y. He can just do anything. He's a very solid all-around wide receiver, and another guy that I would not mind, Adam Peters, picking up the phone and drafting, whether it be in the 5th round, 6th round, 7th round, really does not matter to me. If he's able to fall to the 5th round, I would not be too upset about that at all if he's the pick there at, I believe, 145. So Kevin Coleman Jr., wide receiver out of Missouri. These next two are going to kind of go together. The first one's going to be Kalen Black, the running back from Indiana. He stands at 5'10", 210 pounds, and this year for the Hoosiers, he had 186 carries for 1,040 yards, 10 touchdowns, and averaged 5.6 yards per carry. On top of that, he also only had 4 catches for 36 yards and that averaged 9 yards per reception. So obviously that's not the biggest thing in the world. In terms of a downhill runner, Kalen Black is definitely a solid name on day 3 and is someone that I think is very similar to a Chris Rodriguez, who is able to just punch the ball between the tackles. And I think Kalen Black is definitely someone that probably will be going in the 5th or 6th round at the latest. And I think Kalen Black, if he is one of the picks there for the Washington Commanders, that is someone that I know won't be the starter right away with the Washington Commanders, but definitely someone that is going to be a solid developmental running back. And speaking of an Indiana running back, I also have Roman Hemby. He is also the running back out of Indiana. He stands at 6'0", 208 pounds, and he reminds me more of a Rachaad White. He had 230 carries for 1,120 yards, 7 touchdowns, and averaged 4.9 yards per carry. On top of that, he had 17 catches for 165 yards, 9.7 yards per catch. Did not have any touchdowns, but I think he definitely had a lot more flashes when it came to the receiving game. And when he was at Maryland before Indiana, he was a big receiving running back, having a little over averaging 35 catches a year while at Maryland, and always having over 250 yards per year in the receiving game. So he's definitely someone that really was not utilized in the receiving games at Indiana, but it can be someone that is the backup to Rachaad White, who's more of a third down blocking running back, as well as really good as a receiving back. And I think Roman Hemby is, if he's also a pick there on day 3, is someone that I would be very, very excited for the Commanders to have and to continue to develop in the running back room as a downfield runner as well as a receiving back. And I think, in my personal opinion, I'd rather have Roman Hemby compared to Kalen Black. And thankfully, I think Roman Hemby is projected to be almost a round later than Kalen Black, which is really nice to hear for me, at least, because I'm a really big Roman Hemby fan. I like the way he runs. I like his size, and I like his versatility, whether it be on early downs as well as later downs. And I think he obviously had much better stats than Kalen Black as well. So I think that also speaks for itself in terms of the type of player that he is. My last 2 guys are some dudes that do the dirty work. They're going to be on the offensive line. Firstly, Billy Schroth. He is a guard out of Notre Dame. Unfortunately, he had a major injury last year, and he did not get to kind of play the entire year, but he is a 6'4", 305-pound guard, and originally he was projected to be a round 3 pick around if he didn't get that injury a year ago. But because of that injury, he definitely did fall in terms of his draft position. But I think the talent is still there. He's still very good in the run, in the passing game. And I think Billy Schroth would be a late round steal, whether it be the 5th or 6th round for the Washington Commanders, and is definitely someone that could be even, I believe, competing for a starting spot. Obviously, the right guard position is taken up by Sam Cosmi, but that left guard position definitely has a big question mark there. It's definitely going to be a competition. And I think Billy Schroth, when fully healthy, is someone that could easily compete for that spot. And getting him maybe in the 6th round is an absolute steal, in my opinion. Even around the Commanders community, they also believe that same thing. I've seen Billy Schroth be a very popular pick in the later rounds, especially in the 6th round. So I think Billy Schroth is one of the top offensive line names on day 3 for the Washington Commanders, and I would be someone that I am absolutely on board with if they call his name on draft night on day 3 on that Saturday, and I think he'd be instantly competing for a starting job. And lastly for today, I have the center out of Indiana, Pat Coogan. He stands at 6'5", 310 pounds. Unfortunately, he did not test a lot over the NFL Combine as well as his pro day, so his draft stock really is not that high. And in terms of his overall athleticism, that's really a big question mark. But probably just because he's probably not that athletic, so he did not want to do a lot of the tests, and I don't blame him. I think that he is still a pretty good center. He did win MVP of one of the bowl games for the Indiana Hoosiers this year on their way to the national championship, and that really speaks for itself in terms of the type of player he is. And I think in the later rounds, the Commanders, especially in the 5th or maybe even the 6th round, the Commanders definitely should look at Pat Coogan as a guy that can come in and instantly compete for the starting center job with Nick Allegretti and Julian Good-Jones. So another offensive lineman that I'm very high on is definitely could be a day 3 sleeper for the Washington Commanders. So that is my list for today. Obviously, this is not the only guys that I believe are sleepers on day 3 for the NFL draft in 2026, but these are just some guys I think would instantly be playmakers and have a chance to play and impact the team on day 3 with the Washington Commanders. So let me know what your thoughts are down below, as well as what are some other names you guys think are day 3 sleepers the Commanders could look at. In this year's NFL draft. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go down below, drop a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to know when I post next, and you guys will be notified whenever I post more Commanders content just like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless, and hail to the Commanders.